If this is anything like I think's to come in the overlanding kind of off-road area, Lord help us, because things are getting pricey. What is going on, All-Terrain Nation? That's right. Today we're going to talk about that Toyota tax, or I mean the 2026 Land Cruiser, and I'm going to show you how I would spec my dream version of this thing out. And when this thing initially dropped a couple years ago, I was very excited because I thought, okay, we used to have Xteras. We're currently in Broncos, and I like an independent front suspension platform. I've driven Jeeps and stuff, nothing against them. I've owned Jeeps, and I'll probably own another Jeep. But I like the comfortability of how they drive. The platforms like the old Xteras, the 4Runners, you know, they were easy to drive and did very well on the trails. And when this thing came out, I was all excited. We were told, oh, mid-50s price tag. Okay, well, still waiting on that one because you can't spec one out to even the 1958. By the time you do anything to it, you're almost at $60,000, and that's getting a little pricey for what these things are. Now, when the Land Cruiser was here previously, it was a bloated pig of luxury. The thing just had everything you would ever want. Really, it was probably capable, but not where you'd want to put it on any U.S. trails. So it was never in my wheelhouse. Now, I do love the mid-90s versions of the Land Cruiser. It's one of my dream versions. And I have a Nissan Patrol about the same style in my driveway. That's kind of as big as I want to see an SUV like this get. So I started speccing out my version of the Land Cruiser, and let's just go through it and let me show you what I've got going on here. And this is kind of it. So this is the 2027 version, so we have to be very careful about that. And it's going to be $66,300. Now, a couple things. There's not a lot you can spec with these, but a couple things. Like, I love the Heritage Blue, and I like it with the gray scrape roof there. Bring this out just a little bit more. You can see this thing. I think it looks very good. Kind of gives you those old FJ vibes a little bit, but you can actually see out the back of this. So yeah, so that's kind of the colors. They really don't. One thing I don't like about this is you don't get really any color choices. Like, yeah, if you want gray or white, you can have that, and then you've got these. Basically, if you want any kind of colors, you can choose between Trail Dust and Heritage Blue. So I did the Heritage Blue. Now, getting into the powertrain, there's not a lot you can spec there. You're going to get the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder hybrid version of this thing. And when I say hybrid, it's not for necessarily fuel economy. It's to bring up the small 4 cylinders to help give it some torque, some bite. And it does just that. And it's big battery pack in the back of this thing, which is nice for camping, any off-roading stuff you want to do. You do have availability to that power, which is pretty nice. Of course, we're going to get a full-time four-wheel drive system in this thing. So you're getting what you're getting, but it's a Toyota, man. It's going to do everything it's supposed to. It has nice crawl control features and will take you deep out in the woods where, adventure starts. We're getting the 8-speed automatic transmission in this, and that's it. There's not really there's no shifties with this one. You're going old school of automatic, we'll say, and that's all you get. Of course, packages, we'll get into some of this. This is the premium package where Land Cruiser is going to get 14-speaker JBL premium audio, including subwoofer, amplifier, illuminated entry, illuminated running boards, power moonroof with sunshade, digital rear view mirror, leather trimmed steering wheel, power front seats, memory driver seats, which I would like that, heated and ventilated second row seats, and yes, digital key capability because they screw you over that on your phone. Like with my Ford products, I can just put the app on my phone, unlock the car right here, start from here, good to go. No, Toyota wants you to pay for that. So you're also going to get heads-up display, lane changing, cross traffic alerts, and all that jazz. But that also cranked the price up $5,000. Yeah, this is getting a little pricey. And if you look at this thing, and no shade to it, it looks pretty plain. Like, yeah, there's it's going to drive great. It's going to ride great. I've driven this vehicle. I've enjoyed this vehicle. It's been nice. But these, the tires, you could have came with something a little more aggressive from the factory. Of course, they don't want to ruin they like their surveys. They don't want people screwing up with their surveys. So saying, hey, this thing's loud and noisy, nor do they want to, because this thing needs some fuel economy, they don't want to put anything heavy on there. So I get that. But we're looking at this vehicle. It is nice, but for $66,000, what? I mean, I don't want the 20-inch wheels. I don't need any rock guard bumpers, some console cool box. No moonroof. We're past what I need. I just needed a capable mid-size SUV, which this looks apart. but it's a little expensive. And then when we go to our summary, you know, I opted for the black seats. I didn't want the kind of the baseball leathery looking seats because I feel like it just is a more classic look. It's going to help resale value down the road. I think when you personalize some of these vehicles to color choices that might be unique and fun for you, might hurt resale value down the road. But as is, we started out at $64,155. The paint color was $350, which also put me into the package that is really bumped up the price. And, you know, I optioned for the lift gate tail light, the lights. I think that's a nice feature. And that's basically it. But at $66,300, delivery of $1,600 there, which I do expect probably next year to go up another $100, $200. That's getting to be a pretty pricey vehicle. And when I think of it, yes, it's a Toyota, so you're going to get nice quality. You know, not a lot of complaints about this vehicle. A little bit of wind noise when you add the roof racks and stuff, but that's what it's going to be. It's a nice vehicle, but for $66,000, I'm starting to look at, well, do I wait for maybe the new Nissan Xterra, which they promised in the 40s? Do I opt for a Bronco or a Wrangler, something that might give me more capabilities on the trails? There might be some give and take through the ride quality, but do I look at there? And it's got me thinking: is there a lot of desirability for this vehicle? Of course there is. It's a Toyota. Of course there's going to be a lot of desirability about it. But at the end of the day, this would be a hard one for me to swing for the fences for, because I might look at its more luxury version, Lexus, and there might be for about $10,000 more. There might be a lot more quality. You're getting a bigger engine, a V6 engine versus the 4-cylinder. So there might be things to check out that way. But you know what? At the end of the day, you got to buy the vehicle that you like. And you may like this vehicle and you might find huge value in this. As of now, I'm saying find one on the secondary market. Find a used one, maybe a year or two old, maybe 10 to 20,000 miles on it, and I think you're going to get a better deal that way. But ultimately, I've driven this vehicle. I think it's excellent, and would I love to have one in my driveway? Yes. For $66,000, no way in hell. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. So whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these Toyota Land Cruisers, I've driven. I'll drive again. This has been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, and we're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all. And being Toyota, you know there's going to be good quality, and they're going to last you a lifetime. Most people don't own a vehicle 3 years anymore. Hell, for us, it's 6 months. We seem to be going through vehicles like crazy, but that's what we do for the channel. So in the comments below, do your homework. Which one? Do you like the round lights, the rectangle lights? Would you have chosen the first edition, or would you have been like, you know what? I'm good with the kind of higher quality, the one that's not got all the bells and whistles? Because